Hey, Mike from BlindsOnline.com. I'd like to show you how to install your new 2-inch faux wood blind. After unpacking the blind and making sure that you have all of the parts, parts meaning your mounting brackets, your valance clips, your screws, you can easily take a quick peek at the blind if you'd like before we go ahead and install it. This particular blind is in the color Snow White, and Snow White also has the optional fabric tapes in royal blue, which is a very nice contrast if you're looking to pick up a color in the room. However, these tapes are optional, so if you've ordered the tapes, then your blind will look very similar to this. Now, once you've unpacked everything, just take the blind and put it off to the side and locate your mounting brackets, okay, because that'll be the first step in the installation process. The mounting brackets that we're going to use today are what we call box brackets. They look a little something like this. They're universal brackets. Universal meaning that we can use them to either mount inside the window frame or outside. They have these little movable doors on them, so just make sure you open up the doors before you begin the installation process. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is mount this blind inside the window frame. So this is for an inside mount. So locate a bracket and a screw, and if you have a screw gun handy, that's great, because the screw gun will make things a little bit faster for you, and if you don't, you can always put the screws in by hand. And we're going to take that first bracket and place it up to the very top of the window frame, just like so. Now I'm mounting this bracket all the way back in this particular window frame. This is a 3.5-inch deep window casing, just if you want to get an idea of what it'll look like in your window. And I'm going to drive that screw straight up through the hole at the very top of the bracket, just like that. Okay, so we have one screw in there, and just for security purposes I'm going to put a second one in, and I usually like to put that screw off to the side just in case the bracket is pulling away from the side of the window frame a little. We'll just kind of butt it right up to the frame. Alright, the second bracket's going to get mounted very much the same way. We're going to put it up to the window frame all the way back in the window in this particular case, and we're going to screw straight up into the window frame, just like that. Alright, again, the second screw for good measure. That'll go into the side. Now, if you don't have the option of putting that second screw into the side, you can always put the second screw straight up as well. It doesn't necessarily have to go into the side. Okay, so once we have the brackets mounted, we'll pick up the blind. Now, before we actually mount this blind, we have one more step, and that step would be to install the valance clips. Now, the valance clips get attached to the front of the headrail. The front of the headrail, we know, has the cords coming out of it. Okay, and when we place the valance clips in, we want to make sure that we put them in such a place that we're not going to interfere with any moving parts, mainly the barrels that hold the tapes, the cord lock mechanism. So if we find a spot that has a little bit of an opening, I think this spot here will work well on this particular blind. We'll just sneak it right in there, and then we have a little space right here. We'll sneak this clip in right here. Okay, so we have our valance clips mounted. Now we can bring the blind up to the window and install it into the mounting brackets. So just make sure the doors are open on your mounting brackets, otherwise you're not going to get the blind in. Okay, and just bring the blind up to those brackets and just fit it right in, nice and easy. Just place it right into the brackets, just like so. Okay, and once it's in the brackets, just try and even the blind out a little bit. Make sure you have an even amount of space on the right side and the left side, so that the spacing between the blind and the window frame is about even. It's about even here. And then once you get it just the way you like it, close the doors up. Okay, now once you close the door, you want to make sure that you hear that little snap. Okay, the snap meaning that the bracket is seated and it's not accidentally going to pull open when you're pulling the blinds up and down. Okay, that's very important that the that the bracket be closed all the way. Sometimes it takes a little extra energy, but you can get it. Okay, so we have the two brackets seated, they're closed, they're tight, we don't have to worry about the blind falling out. We can lower the blind all the way down, and we can operate the blind, make sure everything's functioning properly. Oh, it looks great. And the last step to our inside mount installation is going to be adding the valance. Alright, the valance just snaps right into the clips that we added. there isn't really no right or wrong way to mount this. I kind of like to mount the convex portion of it toward the ceiling, but you can do it either way. Just place the top of the valance into the valance clips like that, and just snap it in place. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, there's that one. And there's that one. So we're secure now. We've got our valance in place, we've got our blind mounted, and guess what? We're finished. We've mounted our blind inside the window frame. So that's really all there is to it to mount your blind as an inside mount. Now if you decided you wanted your blind to be mounted outside the window frame, the process is slightly different. You're going to be using the same brackets that we used for the inside mount. Those are the universal mounting brackets, box brackets with the little doors on them. And rather than mounting it inside the frame, we're going to either mount it right to the molding, just like this, okay, where the outside of the bracket is flush with the outside of the window molding. And what we suggest is that you pencil mark the holes, one on top and one on the bottom, pre-drill them so that when you put screws through there, you don't split and crack your moldings. All right, so once you've pre-drilled them, put the bracket back up, put your screws in, your mounting screws, do the same for the opposite side. Okay, again, make sure those little doors are open. Okay, and once your brackets are mounted, you just have to place the blind in, close the doors, snap the valance on, and you're done. There is one other way to mount the outside mount blind, and that would be up above the window molding. Okay, if you've chosen that method, then we would ask that you order the optional spacer block, which is available at checkout at no additional cost. And what the spacer block is going to do is going to push the bracket far enough away from the wall so that when you operate the blind, it doesn't interfere with the window molding. Okay, so when you have the spacer block ready and in place, we want to just hold it behind the bracket. We're going to bring the bracket up to the wall just like so. I usually like to rest the bracket right on top of the window molding like that. And then we drive our screw right through the holes, through the spacer block, and through the drywall. And that'll mount your blind just up above the window molding. Now you might need some longer screws for this. You might have to visit the hardware store to get just a little bit longer screw. But you're going to do the exact same thing on the left side that you do on the right. Put your blind in, close the doors, snap on the valance, and you're good to go. So that's really all there is to it. If you have any additional questions on how to mount your 2-inch faux wood blind, please feel free to give me a call. I'm Mike from blindsonline.com, and thanks for watching.